I really, really pray he gets this done against Rob, just because I think it's one for the history books.
A lot of you fighters talk about, oh, I'll fight anyone, anywhere, anytime. No, you won't. I do. So I'm fighting in Sydney. Dickless, the pussy, you're out. Strickland, you're in.
Look at this grown-ass man on fucking TikTok. No man that beats off the cartoons is gonna beat me.
Well done, Sean. He finally made his way to a title.
So Sean Strickland is now fighting for the title.
I mean, we said this about Dricus against Robert Whittaker as well. There's no chance in hell that Dricus beats Whittaker. But, like, there's no chance in hell that Strickland beats Adesanya, right?
Isn't there? His defense is very good. He's got one of the best defenses. He literally has the best defense in that division. The highest significant strike defense of any active UFC middleweight, 65.4%. It's higher than any active middleweight. It's higher than Izzy's, it's higher than Rob's. I know it doesn't make sense, but like he literally does.
I mean, he has fought good strikers. He fought Uriah Hall, and he did really well in that fight.
I mean, I think the way to beat Sean is the way Alex did it, which is just have an overwhelming amount of power. So when that one shot does get through, it lands with such authority that it puts you out. It'll still be interesting seeing if Sean can like navigate his way through the fight and just keep landing on Izzy and beating him up across the 5 rounds. So he definitely wants to fight. I think it's also a bit personal for him. I think he would actually like to just beat him up. He loves to stay active.
Well, it's clearly part of that camp. Like Volk did the same thing where he's like, no, I want to keep fighting.
He can just insult him a little bit and poke him a little bit more and be like, you aren't even ready. I'm going to fight somebody else. I'll beat that person and then I'll come and beat you. I think he enjoys the beef he has with Sean, right? It's a fun fight for him. It's a different style.
Dude, I'll put it out there. I think he's going to wipe the floor with them. I think it's going to be an easy defense.
I feel like a lot of big fights, when they do have personal beef, isn't just because they have personal beef. It's because stylistically, it's a really good fight. But the really unfortunate thing about this is exactly kind of what you've just said. I mean, yes, it's great that he's got personal beef, but surely Adesanya just runs through Strickland.
Well, this is going to be the closest thing since Chael Sonnen and Anderson Silva, because we got another middleweight kingpin, excellent striker, and of course he's not a wrestler in Sean Strickland, so it's not exactly the same, but he's a talker. That press conference with Izzy and Pereira, all those guys there, Sean totally stole the show. I mean, he was saying some ridiculous things, but that was what was making it. And let's be honest, his comebacks were really clever.
Immediately after that press conference as well, I think there was a lot of us who were just like, I kind of hope he wins against
I want to see this
Pereira
fight. Yeah.
Yeah. It was a conflicting moment as a fan. You've got the guy who talks and the guy who fights. Both of those guys you kind of don't want to see lose in this situation.
I feel like Sean has always kind of been perpetual underdog. To see him actually get to a title, despite the deficiencies people feel like he has, he's going against the grain in almost every way. But if he actually gets to a UFC title, it's kind of like, hey, I didn't follow the rules. I didn't even fight by the rules. I did it my own way, but I still got a title shot.
I don't know. What do you guys think? Did you have more hype for a Strickland fight or a DDP fight?
The fight itself, yeah, absolutely. I think Dricus and Izzy. But it is nice to see that Strickland gets the opportunity to put his money where his mouth is. And he's training with Pereira as well. The fact that he did take that loss in the brutal nature in which he took it, and then he goes, do you know what? I'm going to go train with that guy and learn from him.
He did have the Cannoneer loss in there as well. Very, very close. Yeah. Very, very close.
Yeah. He's looked good in his last couple of fights, but he's lost some really key ones. I mean, last year was a bad year for that dude.
Yeah.
Well, just thank God he had that #1 contender fight with Abus Nurmagomedov.
Yeah, exactly.
If you win this fight, when we fight, I knock you out, I'm gonna do a TikTok dance over your grave.
Oh, fucking, look at this grown-ass man on fucking TikTok. Listen, bro, you're gonna break a fucking nail. Calm down.
The middleweight division is about to get quite exciting, isn't it? A while ago, we asked, where is Khamzat Chimaev? And we seemingly have an answer now. I mean, obviously, coming back against someone like Paulo Costa is a really great thing for him.
Remember the last time we saw Khamzat, everyone was booing him because of the whole problem with the weigh-ins, and he missed weight and everything and he messed up the whole card. Everyone was very upset with him. I think this time away has almost made people forget about that. Now we just miss him and we just want to see him fight again.
You're only as good as your last fight is kind of a positive thing in that as well. If you can turn it around and get the crowd on your side, you can change things. Oh, I didn't get a glass.
You have to earn your stripes.
I have to have a mullet. Is that what I have to have?
I just love that Howler Head's a sponsor for this little podcast segment. Howler Head, thank you very much. Appreciate you guys. You can pick up a bottle at larger Tesco's, on Amazon, Master at Malt.
Here, Jason, have a little sip of mine. You can tell us what you think. Ooh, smooth. Oh. I think it's a really interesting fight for Costa, though. I mean, because Costa is, nowhere near where he used to be. Israel Adesanya was the guy, right, that really put a stop to that hype definitively. And then since then, he's sort of like struggled to get back to that sort of like monster-esque visual that everyone had of him. You know, when Yoel was paired off with Costa, everyone was like, holy fuck.
He's done a really good job finding his own little niche within that, hasn't he? He's had really big performances, and I think he's gotten better during that time as well. So I think his ceiling has gotten higher. He's also kind of shown he could fight up a weight class if he needs to as well. So he's just kind of cultivating his own star power. He doesn't really get taken down that much, but no one's really tried to take him down. I think Vettori tried like 2 takedowns, and the round with the most control time for Vettori, I'd have to rewatch the fight, was a round where Costa actually took him down. Depends what Khamzat's going to do. Like, he might just go in there and brawl with him.
That would be so terrible. That would be such a terrible...
That would be an amazing
I mean, it'd
fight.
be great for us.
Yeah.
But for him, if he's having wars with Gilbert Burns, like having wars with a guy who's much bigger than Gilbert Burns.
Twice the size of Gilbert Burns.
With arguably a lot more power than Gilbert Burns, is a terrible idea. Surely he just needs to stick to his bread and butter and just take that man down.
I actually love this fight.
I mean, to be fair, you know, he could look at that Izzy fight and just say, well, if I just be a bit more technical, I can just knock this dude out and look a ton better as a result of it.
Do you think Khamzat is capable of that?
That's a real question, yeah.
What a great opportunity for Costa as well, to just take some rub off this guy. I love the matchmaking on this one. I mean, who else would you have given Khamzat if not Costa?
Costa seems to be winning even in loss a lot of the time as well, just because he's winning the fans over with this sort of new like comedic personality that he's brought out.
Don't forget, Paulo Costa is a black belt. Like, he started as a grappler. Like, when he came into the Ultimate Fighter, he was a black belt. He was a jiu-jitsu guy, and he kind of developed this crazy striking game because of his like physicality. I don't know if that means he's gonna be able to stop all the takedowns and also have some answers. You know, maybe he doesn't want to grapple at all, but it's not like he's a complete brawler.
When he fought Gilbert Burns, and Gilbert Burns was trying to go for submissions off the bottom, he literally said at the post-fight press conference, I don't like that shit. And he said he wanted to stand up and start fighting on the feet. It could be the same situation. Of course, he's no Gilbert Burns, black belt or not.
You know what Costa's got on the feet that Khamzat doesn't really use a lot of? Kicks. A lot of really good kicks. Costa kicks really hard to the body and to the head as well. Yeah. So I think if they do get in this striking battle, I think Costa can really hurt him with something big and heavy.
We've obviously talked about what happens if he wins, but actually what happens if he loses?
I feel like so many people have soured on him. It's not the kind of hate that you get where people just can't wait to watch him. And I think people are really looking forward to this fight, but I just feel like there are way less people even talking about Khamzat. Now that he's back, he has an opportunity to regain that. I mean, you couldn't be throwing him any more into the deep end than this fight.
Historically speaking as well, how often does this actually happen where he's not just going to the back of the queue of the middleweight division, they're just sticking him right at the top there. Essentially, they're doing that with Pereira as well. Is that more indicative of where the middleweight division is at the moment?
I think it's because the rankings don't really mean that much. Like, the only reason we had the rankings is because, was it Fox wanted rankings or something like that?
I think the UFC wanted to do it to make things look more legitimate than they are when they can just set up a fight, you know? Yeah. It's like, oh, well, let's put him in a big high-profile fight, and then we can say he's earned this ranking like Pereira did with Strickland. But speaking of that, there is kind of a backlog now of title contenders because Strickland is ready.
I think whoever wins this fight is probably going to fight Robert Whittaker.
What's the point of that? You beat Costa and you do it significantly.
Because there's a backlog of
This is booking Crow Cop against Gonzaga. You get head kick, you lose your matchup. This is booking Rockhold against Belfort. You lose your matchup for the title then.
If you click the join button, you can join us here at MMA On Point.
We've added more content a week. It used to be 3 videos a week, now it's 5. Yeah. And a big part of that is because of guys like you. And you also help us literally when you show up for those writers meetings, come up with new content and fresh ideas. So there's a lot of things that really come out of what you do when you support us.
And you get to see Tommy Toehold's face as well.
No.
Face reveal.
Yeah. Face reveal.
No, he doesn't have a face.
He's never had a face.
No.
He's been faceless.
Yeah, faceless. If you want to join the rest of the members, you just click the join button down below. You can sign up at a bunch of different tiers, a bunch of different rewards. You get the podcast episodes. You can join us on the writers meeting, more exclusive content. Thank you very much for everyone who signed up so far. Come to the dark side.